Welcome back to Hack City. Joe DeLeone and Sean Anderson. Man, every single time, Sean, that we think that we've got a weekend of college football when nothing's going to happen, everything happens. We have two very disappointing upsets and then one outcome that I called that came to fruition. We got to start by talking about the meltdown by Penn State. 42-37. UCLA and Nico and little Neuheisel pull off the dub. The golden-haired man himself calling the plays. Nico's running all over this Penn State defense that was supposed to be elite. I have just simply come to this one point, Sean. And I had somebody push back on me posting a video about this on Twitter. James Franklin's the most overrated coach in college football. And somebody commented, well, he's properly overrated, or he's properly rated. Everyone says he's overrated. I disagree with that. There has been lots of discourse to say and to claim that James Franklin was eventually going to get there. Yeah, this was the year. Despite all of his struggles, being 4-21 against AP top 10 teams and beating up on the bad shit teams in the Big Ten. Oh, he was going to get there. Yeah. He was going to win a Big Ten championship this year. National title was coming. He just had to break through. He's never going to break through. That's why he's overrated. We allowed ourselves to get duped once again by James Franklin. I was a little bit cautious, but I listened to those hyping him up. It's done. This is over with. We need a new coach at Penn State.
I would agree. This is a loss that just says so much about what he is unable to do at Penn State. You're unable to get the team ready to go play on the West Coast. You're unable to get them ready to not overlook an 0-4 at the time UCLA team that was the laughing stock of college football with a quarterback who was the laughing stock and poster boy of bad NIL decisions, who had been ice cold through 4 weeks, handing it off to a former FCS back, Anthony Woods. Shout out Anthony Woods. Decent game. Penn State had no business even not just losing this game. They had no business letting UCLA be in this game with them. The stature that they have, the third base. James Franklin is so lucky Harbaugh, he never got on Harbaugh's nerves, because Harbaugh would have hit him with a third base comment 10 times worse than Ryan Day's at the time, because Ryan Day wouldn't have done this if he was coaching Penn State. It is a true embarrassing loss for Penn State. But I'm more intrigued at UCLA. If this is what they're, this leaves me in such a position of intrigue for them.
No, why? They had no wins, and
exactly. That's why I'm intrigued. They had no wins, and then they just opened the door, walked right in with their big work boots on, and said, "Hey, I'm dropping 42 today." That's what's intriguing to me.
We have the golden storyline of all storylines. We've got this wondrous chocolate cake in front of ourselves that we can just dig into and enjoy, that we can talk about. It's such a juicy story,
right?
But you want to grab the stepped on cookie that's on the ground.
You think Nico's the cookie? No way.
I mean, it's a nice little redemption story, and Neuheisel calling the plays on the short week is really fun and it's intriguing. I'm fine with us discussing it. But at the same time, this is the biggest meltdown that's ever happened. They are literally, UCLA is the only winless team to have beaten an AP top 5 or top 10. I'm going to double check that in a second. I think On3 posted it. This hasn't happened before. This loss compared and contrasted with the loss last week against Oregon, I have never seen a meltdown go from proving that you can't beat the top teams and then shitting your pants even worse against the worst team in Power 4. This is one of the worst teams in all of Power 4. We have to focus our attention on that. I'm fine with giving a love to UCLA.
I wasn't coming for a love for UCLA. It's hard for me to properly dissect how big the hangover was from a loss to Oregon to have to travel across and do this to UCLA. Is it too tough for Penn State to be able to do cross country and get right and get ready? Are they flying commercial late at night? I bet they got all the resources that they need to get the team right and healthy. Did they play out? Were they playing 2K late last night? What's the situation? What would prompt Penn State to lose to UCLA like this? Do they not have film of the team? What was there tech issues? What were the GAs not locked in on the scout team? It was unacceptable loss. And there's a lot of chatter about, oh, don't let him back on the plane.
Leave him on the tarmac in LA like Kiffin, yeah.
I understand that sentiment. I just don't see how Penn State lets him go mid-season right now. Okay.
None of that's going to happen. They're also probably not going to fire him. Because his buyout is enormous. He's been there for a very long time. This is not like a simple.
I just don't know how this happens.
He gets done and he gets pushed out. The big thing with Franklin, and it's similar to what I talked about with Dabo after their really bad start to the season. There has to be some sort of mutual parting of ways. James Franklin can't be satisfied with just sitting here. I don't know what the Penn State athletics budget is like, or if there's some alum that has an endless amount of money like Texas A&M does to pay him to go F off. I don't think that they do, nor do I think that they would. They're definitely not going to fire him mid-season after a game like this. I'm going to double-check what his buyout is in a quick second. I did confirm, though, that stat is that they're the first 0-4 team to have ever beaten a top 10 team. So this is the first time that has ever happened, which really accentuates this. But I think it's got to be the Calipari move. There has to be some sort of a mutual agreement. And if I'm James Franklin, I would hope he has the self-reflection to realize he's hit his ceiling at Penn State and he needs a new setting to try and figure out who he is as a coach.
Yeah, he just can't get out. You can't get out coached in this situation. Feels like he did. I can't believe how much he's wasted Katron Allen and Nicholas Singleton. I personally, watching these guys, seeing the talent that they have in the backfield, I can't believe that this was a program that produced a Saquon Barkley and that produced a Miles Sanders that looked like he was going to be the next Saquon Barkley. And you have guys that continually get in the program that can run the rock that disappear. That doesn't happen in college football. It shouldn't, rather. It should be, we have the strongest running back in the nation, or we have the fastest guy. They don't get stopped still. Like we have enough talent on the coaching side to be able to scheme them to have consistently good days. Every single game should be good for some of these guys on Penn State. Drew Allar shouldn't have a lot of bad games. He can be pushed to his limit against the top tier of the Big Ten and maybe in the college football playoff. But in games like this, it shouldn't even be close. That's what gets me. Did they take the whole week off? Say, oh, fellas, I know it was a hard loss to Oregon. I know it was tough. We'll get back on Thursday. It's just UCLA. Did that happen? It would be revolutionary. It shouldn't happen again. But they have no physical business losing to UCLA.
Franklin's buyout, for context, is $50 million, which actually isn't heinous, considering the amount that we know that Jimbo Fisher was paid to go disappear from Texas A&M. So I just wonder if that does end up being, I don't know what if there is some Penn State alum that's willing to just make him go away and they go and hire someone else. I know that Syracuse isn't great this year, but I have said Fran Brown has the recruiting footprint background being from the tri-state area. I would strongly consider hiring him, although they lost today, so it kind of doesn't make my case very strong at the current moment. But there's got to be plenty of other coaches that would be good for this program.
Fran also said he was going to be a Syracuse I'm here for life guy, and I like these I'm here for life guys.
Penn State calls you,
and then I like seeing so who's the call that's going to get you out of there for life? James Franklin, though, it's not like he doesn't have a future in the sport. He's a great program resuscitator. I think that he just needs to go program to program and get
Arkansas head coach James Franklin, Arkansas head coach Dabo Swinney. This is my recurring bit.
I don't mind it. I bet he makes Arkansas better. I genuinely do. I think that he is a great at assessing program issues and getting the James Franklin way, which should be traditional college football program building, in action. But when the James Franklin program building holds for too long, maybe this is the end result, which is one of the ugliest losses genuinely of all time.
The other loss that was very ugly today, Texas loses to Florida 29-21, and our attention is directed aggressively towards Arch Manning. It was a lot of the same problems, holding the ball too long. He was sacked 6 times. He had 2 interceptions where they were just bad throws, bad decisions, just awful, awful, awful. I've come to the point where I think Arch needs to transfer. I was hoping that this would be the game where he bounces back and he starts to play better and there's a little bit of redeemability. He starts to build confidence. No, it kind of ends up being the case for DJ Lagway, who was gutting out, being extremely banged up in this game. He was hobbling around like he's been doing so far this year. I think Arch needs to go and transfer somewhere that is less public, and I don't know where that is. Is that him going to a Mississippi State? Is that him transferring to an UNC? Does he try to transfer to UNC? Although that's actually kind of public now that I think about it, because you'd be a lot of attention on that. Never mind.
Need a new coach at UNC.
Yeah. Well, BB comes back.
BB comes back. It's not just BB. I think it's if BB's entourage comes with him.
Right. But my point is that I would consider, if I was Arch Manning, I would really try to consider to go somewhere where there's less attention on me, because right now it seems like all of that attention is causing him to overthink and to play really poorly. Guys who are in their own head don't improve when they feel like there is an insane amount of pressure on their shoulders. Go play some games in the CW and you're going to start to feel better about yourself.
Yeah, this is brutal. Florida, not good. I know people love doing the, I told you they were actually good bit about Florida. They're not, but they wanted it more than Texas. Texas has issues with wanting it, and Arch was not good. He looked shaky. He doesn't look happy. He doesn't look confident.
He looks freaked out. This is my whole point. He legitimately looks. It's not even rattled. Rattled isn't even the right word. He looks freaked out and panicked every time he does something, and on the sideline too.
You can almost see him feeling the pressure and like the namesake and all the hype, like just weighing on him. And maybe he just needs to stink it up for a full year and have an expectation reset. I don't know. This is a weird one to analyze of how much could he have internalized on the positive side to either think that he was good enough then and to think, wow, they're calling me the first round pick and I barely played. Maybe his college stuff is going to be so easy. If all these people are saying I'm this great, maybe I don't need to change much, But he was just out of high school, still learning ball, still hadn't played a bunch. So he's taking some lumps. This is a big one for him. I don't know. And on the opposite end, when he was playing Sam Houston State, he was just flexing on guys. Like it felt like he was exercising some of those demons. But here they are right back again. There's no middle ground with him. It feels like, all right, I'm beating up on the cruddy team versus I'm getting torched by legit grown men when I have to play them.
He's going to be in hell next week going up against this Oklahoma defense, by the way, that is just going to be smothering and attacking him. Brent Venables is going to be like a shark circling a dead fish that, although I guess you wouldn't really be circling the dead fish.
Fish looks happier, I think.
Yeah, honestly.
Dead fish.
A wounded seal. A group of sharks circling a wounded seal is what Arch Manning is at the current moment. I hope he plays well next week because I want this kid to succeed, but it's going to be better off for him to end up somewhere where less people are going to be talking about him and less people are going to be focused on him so he can play a little bit more freely. The last game before we hit the break to talk about the night games after they're finished playing at the time of us taping this, Alabama beats Vanderbilt 30-14. I feel so justified for how I've projected this game and also projected what was going to happen to Vanderbilt the minute that they actually faced a competent team that, I don't know, maybe didn't have their starting quarterback get knocked out of it because of a concussion. There was a lot of shit talking from these newly created, these people that just formed in thin air, Vanderbilt fans that didn't go to Vanderbilt. If you're doing it for Notre Dame, you're doing it for Michigan, you're doing it for USC, and you didn't go to those schools, I'm fine with it. I'll allow it. You're not doing it for Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's too academic to be purely academic. It's an engineering school in Tennessee. And you're telling me you just happen to be a Vanderbilt fan? Total BS nonsense.
What if they became a fan of some of the other Vanderbilt offerings? They got good baseball there. They got decent basketball. And they're like, oh,
they don't have decent basketball.
They had decent basketball at one point.
They got dunked all over by Ty Simpson and the boys who were slanging it. The run game comes back for Alabama as Jam Miller goes for 136. Ryan Williams also dunking all over him, 98 yards and a touchdown. This is a stacked win for Alabama to start their rise potentially to winning the SEC. They're in the best possible position. I'm done talking about Vanderbilt. They're a fun, cute story. They're going to be the fun, cute 8-4 team at the end of the year. Alabama's the legit threat. They've got a quarterback who's got nuts, who improvises well, who stares down pressure, and he will fire with the bullet coming his way. No matter what he thinks is going to happen, he is going to find a way to connect with one of his teammates. I love Ty Simpson. I love this Alabama team.
I'm a fan of Simpson for sure. His mobility when he wants to use it is pretty good. He's not just I'm a college quarterback running with no regard. He's always got his eyes downfield when he's trying to get out of it.
Freaking
yeah, he's insane.
Sorry.
The way that Simpson operates is very good for this Alabama offense. DeBoer needed this one also, and I think today was probably the most excited I've seen the Alabama fan base in the stadium to beat Vandy maybe ever. Like it felt like a big sigh of relief in that whole stadium. Like it didn't happen again. We got an extra touchdown at the end. I didn't mind that they shattered the cover at the end, that Alabama ran another in. Yeah, I don't want it to look like we were close with you. I like that attitude from Kalen DeBoer. I'm tacking another on because I don't think you were better than us. And I want to spread out the margin because when we look back at this at the end of the year, and if Vandy is 8-4, that's why I stand by it. It looks like an even better win for Alabama. It was smart, it was tactical, and
well, they didn't get sucked in too. They didn't get sucked in by the jawing and all the shit talking from Pavia and them. I think that they just recognized it, and they fell for the shit talking in week one. That was part of our criticism for why they got stomped out by Florida State. Is you fell for the trap, and this time around your team was a lot more focused.
Yeah, and I feel like for Kalen DeBoer, almost a reset at Alabama where last week was a big one. That was a massive win. This one, though, I think personally, he's like, okay, now I've got a grip on how I want to approach the really good teams, how I want to approach the good teams and the bad teams. And that's what a program needs. He needs to know how to get his guys ready for all different types of opponents. And Vanderbilt's still quality. They're going to look like a decent win. Clark Lee put together a fine team this year, but Vanderbilt wasn't making the long run. They weren't going to go and start and be this upstart team in the playoff and just start knocking everybody off with magic. No, it's still Vanderbilt. And if teams understood that they had to take them seriously, then this is the result you get. And I still think it could have gone even more in favor of Alabama. But again, Vandy's not terrible.
Last thing I want to get to before we hit the break really quickly. It is, for anyone who is unfamiliar with this lore in college football, the Texas A&M police account has always been dropping bangers of whenever someone gets arrested for being too drunk. This is the latest tweet today, and I think that this is an all-timer. I think that this is the greatest one. Public intoxication ×2 responded to report of intoxicated subject in men's restroom, already off to a bad start, near section 334, 335. So these arrests happen in the stadium usually. Called sober friend. Sober friend arrived intoxicated. Arrested. Hashtag BTHO Mississippi State. So there's also a beat the hell out of Mississippi State.
Oh my god.
So okay, but what I'm trying to understand though is how this operation occurred. Who was drunk? Okay, let me rephrase. I'm sounding like I'm drunk trying to explain this. Did he call his buddy and he thought his buddy was sober, or did the buddy say that he was sober and he showed up? They're like, "Hey man, you're more drunk than he is. You're coming with us." It's also like a trap that's set by the police where this poor idiot showed up. And he's like, great. Now I'm getting roped into this shit.
I was just drinking at home, and now he brought me here. I thought I was just going to pick him up. No, I'm talking to the police. Now I'm in it.
Wait, hold up. So do you think he rolled in from his section, or it would be even funnier if he rolled up like drove up to the police station with his pickup truck, like pulls up onto the curb. He's visibly drunk.
If this guy was found in the bathroom, that means that he must have been like passed out in the bathroom, because I don't think cops are doing a walkthrough.
No.
Maybe they are in a big college football stadium. I'm not sure, but it must have been like hey, there's some jackass passed out in there in the urinal. Would you mind like getting him out? Cop goes in, and then obviously belligerent, drunk in the bathroom. Call my friend Steven, or whatever his name is. Call it. Steven's like,
so you think he sold his friend?
I think he had to say, oh, well, do you have anybody that can pick you up? Oh, my buddy can get me. He's fine. And then he didn't even know. He probably had no clue the state of his friend. If he was that
would be really effed up if that was the reality of this.
I think if they pulled him out of the stands or the concourse or something, it's a little different. But in the bathroom, you have no awareness of the situation. There's no way you do.
So then I'm asking this, though, is it sounds like aggressively to blame should be the first person. We shouldn't be questioning the judgment of the second person. So I kind of agree with your assertion here, where the first guy said, call my buddy. He's over in the same section. He'll come get me and to release me to him. And the buddy was also drunk and didn't realize what he was walking into.
Yeah, he was just.
I thought he was going to the 50-50 raffle or something.
He was probably just
more beer.
He was just answering the Call of Duty.
Yeah,
and he thought that maybe, you know what? This is some stuff that I think that it would happen for me was. Oh no, I'm just picking up this guy. Like nothing could happen to me. Yeah. I'll be fine. I'm all good. And then, sir, have you had a couple tonight? I'm like, oh, what?
No.
Wait. Yeah, wait. This is not an interrogation to me. I'm helping my moron.
Yeah, you guys are here for him, not me, man.
No,
not
you didn't catch me. All right, this was not entrapment here. Oh, I'd have it if I would definitely have words if I was the second person called.
All right, we're gonna take a very short break.
If you actually shit your pants, that stays in.
I have to finish.
Yeah. Because
that's worse for you than it is for me.
I don't have shit in my pants. I'd be able to get through.
Welcome back. Miami just beat Florida State. This game was an ass whooping to start. It was very quick separation for Miami, and it really looked like Miami was starting to assert and prove that they are in that top team conversation. Florida State kind of stormed back, which credit to Mike Norvell for having a little bit of pride, not wanting to get completely stomped out. But I feel the only takeaway to have with this is that Miami provides the final piece of proof to show that they are the best team in the country.
Their offensive line is good. Their running back is good. Carson Beck has actually completely flipped my whole impression of him on its head this season. And then additionally, we need to have like an asterisk or some type of denotation for games like this, where it was clearly a blowout and then it looks like a one-score game, or that it was close when it really wasn't. Like eventually, when it's nut cutting time in a couple weeks and everyone's looking over the resumes and be like, oh, well, this was a weird one. They only won by 6. No, they won by 30. They won this game by damn near 30 points, and the score at the end of it just doesn't reflect that. I don't know how we get around that, aside from just having smart people just talk about the voters, the pollsters, however it whittles down, to actually remembering that what this game went like, because I don't think they're going into the meeting room and watching the film. You know, it's going to be, what does everyone remember? What are the notes that they had? And then a 28-22 is not reflective of the ass whooping that Miami put on Florida State, a competent Florida State team.
Well, and I think that the biggest thing that shines in this victory is that they forced a lot of early turnovers. They played to their identity. They've really affirmed that they can overwhelm, swarm, just completely rattle any team that they're going up against. This was an incredibly potent Florida State offense. And I think the perspective that you're putting on this is the correct way. We can give credit to Norvell and Florida State for fighting back, but we need to acknowledge that this was a complete beatdown, and the rest of this was garbage time points. As much as it looked like they almost staged a comeback, that comeback wasn't going to happen. I would argue holding Florida State to 132 rushing yards is a pretty productive day, because it meant they forced Castellanos to throw, which led to him throwing multiple interceptions. And then the other part about this, they didn't have the same like typical degree of run game dominance that they've always been able to turn to. They didn't have a running back go over 50 yards. But Beck, as you talked about here, he stepped up to the plate because he needed to. This is my whole point with them, is that they're the most balanced team, that in the moment when something's not working, they can turn to a different way of winning the game. Against Florida, they had to win with defense and running the football. In this game, they had to win by forcing turnovers at their secondary instead of grinding down their opponent. And also Carson Beck making a lot of big plays, connecting with Tony and Daniels to then make big plays after the catch. They can just win in so many different ways.
I tell you, I slept on this team, this Miami team. I thought once Cam Ward left that it was going to be like a hangover season. Like, we just don't have it. I don't know how Carson Beck didn't look that good coming into Miami off of his last year in Georgia to me. I didn't think he was going to be a guy that could translate from one program to another, and then especially not get better from one program for another. I didn't think he was wired that way. It felt like a vanity move. It felt like I want to go to Miami with my girlfriend move. And it's not that.
Well, he broke up with the girl. Well, she broke up with him, and then now he's locked back in.
It's really shocking. I think for Mario Cristobal, the lumps that he took the first couple years when he was in Miami with the bad coaching decisions, the Georgia Tech stuff, all of it is seemingly in the rearview mirror. And that's Jinxathon 1000 from Sean Anderson here for Cristobal. Yeah. And I'm owning up to it for the next crazy loss, but right now. But they look competent. It just took some time at Miami for them to really legitimize themselves as a program. And this is it. This is what I'm looking at and what teams should look for when you're doing a new coach rebuild is in a couple years, can you do something like this? Can you get your hands in recruiting? Can you get your hands in the portal? Get the right players on your team, get the big bodies up front, find a quarterback and make it happen. They are. This is a really good blueprint, I think, for the big schools that are out but looking in, that have historic greatness. Like Nebraska should be following this pathway. I think Wisconsin should be following this pathway. Teams that have had really good seasons have the capability of getting good players, but they can't have it all click at once. Try to emulate Miami.
Well, I would argue Nebraska tried, because what Miami did is bring in a former player who was last there when they were dominant in Mario Cristobal. They tried it with Scott Frost. Scott Frost didn't mesh, didn't work. And it less with Wisconsin, but now Wisconsin has a shot by going and getting Jason Eck, who is the New Mexico coach, although I don't know how good Wisconsin was when Eck was there, but he's still a former Wisconsin offensive lineman. That is who they need to go. I do think that it's tough sometimes to project the former player to program pipeline. The other one, Rhett Lashley for Arkansas, is the other one that gets brought up. If there's a way to make that work, you have a guy who is the ultimate pride in representing his program, and that's what you need to have. And right now, it's showing up, and his identity is being more physical than everybody, and it's just mauling whoever they go against.
It's good. It's impressive. And at Florida State, it's such a sorry ass year that they turned in last year, to be good and competent. And you know, they got beaten this game, but they can battle with a lot of teams. They can battle with a majority of teams. This is a really good resume win for Miami. I hope it doesn't get lost in the mix in case we start seeing Florida State spiral, because if Castellanos plays like this for the rest of the year, it's going to be a real tough uphill climb. If he's on and he's good and he looked like he did in the first 4 weeks, then you know they'll be really solid. But this I guess play efficiency can't carry on for the last second half of the season.
Yeah, people are already trying to kind of move the goalposts on this, because I tweeted my obligatory Miami's the best team in the country tweet in the third quarter.
Well, you are Mr. Miami. Yeah, this guy wakes up and is
Miami. It didn't go out once when I was in Miami or actually enjoy it. I stayed in the hotel the whole time because there was ball on. All right, we got to get out of here. It's late. No other big games that we want to talk about. At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio, at Hack City Pod, 201-834-4308. Call in to the Hack Bag and let us know how you're feeling. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, we'd like that.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.